Hello everybody, and Jess here, and welcome back to Sousou no Frieren, episode 2, kinda, sorta, the second part of the initial batch. Oh boy. From what I gather, Frieren was released as that 2-hour special, quote-unquote, on the TV. This was the initial release, but it is essentially 4 episodes just merged together. I believe even the creator of Frieren spoke out saying that it was essentially 4 episodes airing back to back rather than one singular cohesive movie. I also hear from people that those 4 parts are fairly episodic as well. So I don't think I lose anything by watching those parts in succession rather than watching them all at once. And it really wouldn't work if I watched like 2 hours of Frieren at once, because the video would just be 5 hours long, and who the fuck would watch it, right? So it's best to pace ourselves, I think. On the other hand, though, episode 5, what essentially amounts to episode 5, is gonna be releasing in a week-ish, in 5 days. So I have 3 more episodes to watch, well, including this one, in 5 days, with all the other seasonal shows that are coming out, with the leftovers from the previous season, with the shows that I'm kinda, behind on, like Undead Girl Murder Force or Ancient Magus Bride. Ancient Magus Bride Season 2 Part 2 airs this season as well, and I'm not done with the first part yet, so go figure. So yeah, Frieren is kinda sorta shuffling my plans and my schedule a little bit, but well managed. Regardless, what happened in the previous season, previous episode, not season, in the previous episode, we were introduced to the characters and to their story. That's basically the summary of the previous episode. We were introduced to Frieren, our main character. We now know more or less what kind of a character she is. She already went through quite a big change in the span of that single episode. Right, she suddenly became a little bit more interested in humans, in understanding them, because she knows that her time with humans is fairly limited, because humans aren't quite as long-lived as she is. We also met her party. I wanted to say her old party, but by the time we started the previous episode, it was still her current party. But we went through a 50-year time skip first, then through another 20 years of a time skip, and Himmel died on the way. Heiter is also not long for this world, and I think even Eisen's time is limited. So 1 more time skip, maybe 2, and it's gonna be Frieren's former party, not her current party anymore, alas. And we will enter reminiscing. I'm still not sure how much of this show will be actually reminiscing. Frieren traveling the world, seeing all the locations that she used to visit with her friends, with her party, and reminiscing about the good old days and the bad old days. Kinda like the moment with her being swallowed by the mimic, and then shenanigans with Hater, however you pronounce it. So yeah, we'll see what kind of a show it's going to be in the end slow, methodical, and nostalgic. That much is for certain. But what kind of a story it wants to tell, well, that is still very much up in the air. At the end of the episode, Frieren got an apprentice, not an apprentice, kind of sort of temporary apprentice, I guess you could say. That being Fern, who's an orphan that Hater sounds really weird, doesn't it? Heater, I'm gonna call him, took in because she's a war orphan and he's a priest, so of course he wants to do good and whatnot. And she has some magical potential, but she needs some serious guidance to be able to realize that potential in full. And there's also the grimoire, the book that Heater had that speaks of immortality spells and resurrection spells. So this is probably something that we might have to deal with. Mint tea. Now, Heater, of course, expressed his desire to be a little bit more long-lived, at least, if not outright immortal, but he would like to have at least a few more years. So we know that in case he dies and it takes Frieren 200 years to decipher the book, he wants to be resurrected. It stands to reason. But would Himmel, would Eisen want that? Would Fern? Because in 200 years, not even she will be alive. Kiwi seed in my teeth. But yeah, those are gonna be the questions that Frieren will have to deal with sooner or later, assuming she even manages to decipher that book. But yeah, those are our plot lines, kinda, that we have. One plot line being the reminiscing of the past, visiting the sites of battles of yore, of places where they've been, things like that. Maybe the eatery where they first met, or stuff like that. The blacksmith shop where they got their first gear, etc., etc. On the other hand, we have Fern and Frieren potentially having to take care of her, assuming Heater dies, and he is on the cusp, so it's fairly probable, and we already know that Fern will be a little bit aged up eventually, so I expect another time skip. We also gonna have another member of our party, that is Stark, who will probably also be mentored by Frieren. I'm not sure about that yet, because he still hasn't appeared in the show. And we of course have the third plot line, the third plot point, and that is the book that needs to be deciphered, and that could potentially bring back all of Frieren's team members, should they wish so. But will they? Heater would, but what about the rest? Okay, we'll see where this episode takes us. Is it going to be after a time skip? Is it going to be episodic? Is it going to continue where we left off? I don't know. We'll see. To see that, of course, you will need your subs to follow along with me. I'm going to need my sound to hear what's going on in the show. Oh. There we go. Untwist the cable. And I'm gonna have to ask you for your support. Support the channel if you want monetarily on Patreon or YouTube, linked down below, or not. Share my content, spread the word, costs nothing, helps a lot. And with that, we can start watching Frieren episode 2 in 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, it's the OP again. Maybe it'll grow on me, but I'm not sure. The beginning is decent enough. Or rather, okay, this song is good. as, you know, in the void. It would be great for any other show, but it doesn't really fit the theme, the vibe of Frieren. Doesn't even fit the setting, honestly. Like, you think fantasy world, you don't think synth and what's it called? Like, not voice mod, autotune, right? Like, good song, just misplaced as far as the show goes. The chorus makes up for it, though. I really like this chorus section. Yeah, maybe it'll grow on me. Okay, so we're starting just where we left off. Learning about the magic system. Okay, so the hardest part of the challenge is behind her. Instead of having to learn for 10 years, she will just have to learn for 5 years, for example. Also, once I learned that this is the Chize's voice actress, I cannot unhear Chize in her words, in her voice. Nice little clip show time skip. Heifer really likes being naked, doesn't he? And he doesn't like broccoli. Another winter. Oh, some magic is working. Okay, so it's really going fast. She's really a prodigy. I mean, she is still just a kid, all things considered. I doubt you become a proper mage, whatever proper mage means, until the age of like 20 something, if not 30. The grimoire will come in useful, I fear. Yeah, fair. Assuming you were like 20 at the time we met you, that's been like 50 and another 30. No, 50 and 20 years of a time skip. He's like 90 something right now, 94. I mean, fair's fair. Sure. But maybe, like, at least, you know, see him for the last time, for what could be the last time, and then go back to training. At least do that much. Himmel? Himmel. Yeah. But now there is no fear of that because Frieren is here and Frieren can take care of Fern. Okay, life continues as usual, except Heater is immobile. Spring has come, and the rising music though, okay. And cliffhanger. Short-lived, but a cliffhanger no less. Well, shit. It was just a treaty describing the research, maybe? Who's Ewig? Oh, he wanted a pretense for Fern to stick around so that she can teach Fern. Okay. Yep, yep, yep. That's... yeah. That's why he created the pretense of the Book of the Grimoire. Yep, it was a trick. Yep, very much so. Yep. It's you who's running away from saying goodbye, not Fern. He probably saw himself in her or something, or he wanted to be like Himmel. Okay, yeah, carrying the legacy of Himmel because Himmel can't carry this legacy now. That's a clean shot. A little bit off center, but I don't think it really matters with firepower like that. Pour him the last drink. Couple of last drinks. I was afraid it's the end of the episode, but no, we still have some time. That's a... Oh, I thought it's a carrot, but no, it's just a pumpkin. Another time skip, 26 fucking years. So Fern is like, what? 34? Or thereabouts? Yeah. That's better. Yeah, you need funds. Okay, payment in spells. Right, she is collecting spells. Right. Because she wants to collect them all. Yeah. Sousou no Frieren is just Pokemon, isn't it? Gotta catch them all and all that. Himmel's statue? Yep. A little overgrown. Okay, we see a flashback to how Himmel the hero saved the village and saved the old lady who wasn't quite so old back then. Himmel? There we go. Right on time. Yeah, only someone who was Himmel's teammate would say. Of course. Yeah, kind of fits the description, doesn't it? Could probably fix the cracks while you're at it. Oh, it's bronze. Okay. Okay, you can clear... Oh. I mean, you could also clear the patina to bring a little bit of orange. What flowers did Himelo like the most? There we go. And now we have another quest. Find out the flowers, see them and conjure them. Okay. I see how the story is gonna be structured. Or you can see it in the book, maybe that also works. Well, time to reintroduce them. Let's hope they're not an invasive species. Did she just grab those squirrels? Yeah, squirrels. Yep. Oh, seed rats. Okay, I guess that's also fine. Yeah, probably. Essentially, I guess, making it up to Himmel that she still regrets that she didn't have a chance to, learn about him. Oh, it's gonna be a slow series, isn't it? There's gonna be a lot of just chill moments like that. Just laying on the grass in their summer dresses. Or they're not summer dresses, it's what you wear underneath a dress. In 6 months, you could probably have traveled to Himmel's hometown and come back. Yeah, because for her, it's just a blip on the calendar. I mean, she sees time differently to begin with. Are those seeds of the blue flower? What was that satchel? Okay, it's related. Yeah, true. That's true. She's also spending Fern's time. For Frieren, 10 years here and there makes no difference. But for Fern, it matters. Staying in one spot, just looking for a flower for a decade, that's at least 10% of her life, assuming she lives to 100. So, yeah. Oh, that's some nice Tilandicias. I used to have Tilandicia like that, but it just dried out. It's a hobby. Yeah, sure. there probably is some deeper reason. Yeah, that looks much better. Having fun, chasing each other in flowers, making flower crowns. They're having fun. Oh, right, so now she's looking for any sort of spell now, because it might just come useful. It might just, you know, make a place look a little bit more pretty, or what have you. Right. Oh, that's a blue petal. So it's possible that seeds from decades past might still be hidden somewhere inside. Just like squirrels do. And it's gonna be a huge trove of seeds, isn't it? I mean, you're blue yourself, so I can see the similarity. That's a lot of them. That is a lot of them. I expected, like, you know, a couple. The music is amazing. The music is extremely cinematic, you know? Yeah, so you must have your own motivations. Yeah, true enough. You could have been a miller's helper, or, I don't know, a prostitute or something. It's the Middle Ages we're talking about, and you're a pretty girl, so. But yeah, you chose magic in the end. They are pretty. Kind of like cornflowers, I guess. A flower crown. Yeah, last time he was the only one without a flower crown. Now Frieren is making up for it, and that's the end of the episode. Okay. It's gonna be a very slow burn, isn't it? Just traveling the world, arriving somewhere, looking for some flowers, some philosophical talk, a little bit of reminiscing, flashback or two. I'm not averse to it though, so it's fine. I really like the ED. I really do like the ED. It really should be the opening. 100% should be the opening. I wonder if someone already, like, substituted the music from the ED for the visuals of the opening. I wonder how well that works. Because if it works, there's hope that someone might release a version of Frieren that just swaps the music. Killing magic, right. Magic is not just whimsical wonder summoning flowers, magic also kills. We can't forget about that. Makes perfect sense. Alright, okay, alright. I see where it's going. Probably, I don't know, it could do a 180 at any moment. But yeah, let's watch it again, shall we? As always. There we go. Oh, P. Is there even a lot to talk about? We get a little bit of a glimpse at the magic system. Long range magic is a combination of 3 key factors: strength, control, and the amount of mana. How is the amount of mana different from strength? I would assume the more mana you pour into a spell, the stronger it gets, but maybe it's different. And the control, of course, also matters. Your spell fizzled out. That means your mana and firing strength are lacking. You have the control because you can shape the beam, but it doesn't have enough strength to, last for long enough, and you don't have enough mana to feed the beam lasting for long enough. Makes perfect sense. It'll take years to master, but you have great control already, and control is usually what people have trouble with, so you have the hardest part already behind you. I thought that I might be able to read this script, but no, it's just gibberish, I'm afraid. With some letters that look vaguely Greek, but that's about it, and plenty of instances of number 4. Sure. The book really looks, on point as far as medieval publications go. The style of drawing, the use of color, it really does a lot. Yellow, red, and green, the most, and black. Blackish, the most popular, easy to get, easy to acquire colors you could have in medieval times. Red from certain minerals and from those little tiny red bugs. If you grind them to paste, they make for perfect red pigment. Yellow from yellow flowers, for example, or chestnut also gives you some nice yellow dye. Green from grass, spinach, whatever, and brown or black or whatever the color of the ink. Ink was usually made with soot, so again, very easy to acquire. There's no blue because blue required lazulite, hard to acquire. Mineral, there's no like purple or other colors like that. It's cool. Shooting snowmen. I really like that the magic they're using is nondescript like that. I really like it that it's not a fireball or an icicle or a electric beam or anything of the sort. It's just a beam of energy. And similarly, when they're using certain spells, like Frieren summons the Field of Flowers, she doesn't chant like Field of Flowers and smacks her staff into the ground and flowers start sprouting away from it. It's very how do I even describe it? It's very Tolkien-ish almost, right? Like in Lord of the Rings, for example, magic exists. It absolutely does. It can do plethora of things, but it doesn't have any, grandiose chants. Gandalf doesn't scream fireball and throw fireball at an army of Uruk-hai. Magic is very nondescript, very, flowy. It can be anything you want it to be. And I'm kind of getting this vibe from Frieren as well. And it really is a nice change of pace. Because anime really, really, really rely a lot on screaming the name of the spell at the top of your lungs, and spells being categorized in elements and power strengths and modifier words and shit like that. It's fun as well when the magic system is complex enough for it to actually work. But this is a nice breath of fresh air, and it's also cool because magic can really be anything. We have a spell to make grapes more sour. Why does anybody need a spell like that? I don't know, but it exists. It's cool. What other spells can exist? Is there a spell to turn mint purple? Maybe there is. I know. Would be cool if it was, right? It's cool. It's cool. And what they are wearing is not a summer dress. It's called fuck. I can't remember the name. In Polish, it's called halka. So let me translate it. Google Translate, please. Halka translates to slip. What? Underskirt. Duh, of course. I forgot that English is a Germanic language, so if it's under the skirt, it's called an underskirt. Makes perfect sense. This moment, I really had a bit of a what the fuck moment. Is Frieren getting old? Did we time skip like 500 years, or what happened? But no, she's just cold. She's just cold. I like that there are moments like that included in this show. It really humanizes Frieren, because she seems very otherworldly most of the time, right? A near immortal being whose whose motivations are her own, who can even think of the reason why she acquires spells, who can even begin to imagine what she lived through, right? This kind of a whimsical, otherworldly being. Doesn't help that she very rarely shows her emotion. She usually wears a poker face. And it's really moments like that, or the moment where she fell out of her bed. It really humanizes her, and I like it. I like that we are not dealing with a completely emotionless and stone-faced protagonist, because it would get boring eventually. What are they eating? Meat. He really likes being naked in the water, doesn't he? Yeah, it's meat in some gravy, broccoli, and either carrots or yams or sweet potato or something like that, and a soup served besides it. That's how you know, for the most part, that it's a Japanese show trying to emulate European eating habits, eating standards, whatever you want to call it. In Japan, it's fairly common for you to have like 7 different plates, right? Here is a plate with some fish, here is a plate with some steamed vegetables, here is some plate with tempura okra, here is a plate with this, here is a plate with that. In Europe, at least in Poland, but from what I gather, it's everywhere in Europe, as far as my experience goes. You get a plate of soup, you eat the soup, you finish the soup, you set it aside, you get a plate of the main dish, and you eat that plate of the main dish, and you set it aside. You might get some sort of a salad or some side dish in a separate bowl on the side, but that's about it. The fact that soup and the main dish are served at the same time here really betrays the fact that it's a Japanese person trying to portray a European style food. Then again, it's a fantasy world. It could very well just be a merger of both of them. It could very well be how they eat food in this world. It's not Europe, after all, is it? But yeah, an interesting tidbit. Maybe. Interesting to me, at least. I like how throwing those broccoli is actually animated. And this little bit of the broccoli landing and then falling into place. Such a little tiny thing, just one more additional frame, and it really helps sell the fact that the broccoli actually landed. Moments like this really humanize Frieren. In just 4 years, so we are currently 74 years past their triumphant return. Okay. She must really love magic? Maybe. I'll finish deciphering the grimoire before she does. Well, hopefully not, because then the whole jig is gonna be up, and Heather's plan is gonna go awry. Yeah, I can't read this. Oh, the one made up... Oh, it's cursive. It's kind of blurry, but you could feasibly try to read it. Not everything is clear, but like third paragraph, fourth line. It's the one made up of lights and something. Same to be a... I don't know. It's English. It's English though. If you have a doctor in your family, they could probably decipher it. Huh. I wonder what it actually says. I wonder what it says, because it says something. How does the writing work? Oh, a classic mask. Okay. I was wondering whether the writing actually follows the tip of the pen, of the quill rather, but no, it doesn't. It would be a little too much to animate, so it makes perfect sense. Rather, the text is just, you know, slowly being revealed with a mask. Those hands are really looking CG-ish. I think it's because the fingernails are so well defined. Usually in anime, you don't see fingernails being so well defined. They usually blur together with the rest of the hand, or rather, the color of the fingernail is there, but there isn't any line art around them. And Frieren was about to say, this grimoire probably doesn't actually contain any spells about immortality or resurrection. Also, first time I noticed that her eyes are 3 shades of green and a little bit of red up top. And yeah, it really is a wonder. It really is a miracle. He's right, that he's been mobile until the age of... conservatively, the age of 94, assuming they came back from their travels when he was 20, which, let's be honest, he was probably closer to being 30. So 104. Yeah, it really is a miracle that he stayed mobile and alive until this point. Heater collapsed. I need you to stay with him. But yeah, her goal, Fern's goal, is to repay the kindness, right? Heather helped her, and now she wants to show Heather, or how do you pronounce it? Heither. Okay, Heither. But yeah, she wants to repay the kindness Heither saved her, so now she wants to show him that, hey, you saving me wasn't in vain. I became a worthy person. I can take care of myself. You don't need to worry about me. Basically. That's a lot of destruction. Is it? Oh, I thought it's the same area, but no, it's a different place. A lot of destruction. Very interesting, though, again, that a war to such a scale happened after the Demon Lord was defeated. And in an area where Heather resides. So it's not like it happened like, super, very up south or very up north or, out of their range of influence of the heroes or whatever you want to call it. But rather it happened in their neighborhood, essentially. Interesting. I want to learn more about this world, about this war, and about this world, yes, as well, and its history, but I really want to know what's the deal with this war? How did it happen? Is it the. Could it be that because the Demon King was defeated, it caused an imbalance of power? Possibly. The nations closer to the demon territory, more up north, would probably be more militarized and probably a little bit more destroyed by the war with the demon lord. So they would conceive a plan to attack their neighbors to get some better territory that wasn't destroyed, or it could be that it's their neighbors who saw them as an easy picking because they've been already half destroyed by the demon lord. Might as well finish the job and get some territory. It'll be a waste for you to die now. I plan to live out the rest of my days quietly, yeah, but I realize that I need to carry his legacy. Or rather, not need to carry his legacy, but need to carry on with the way he changed me, if it makes any sense. Right? I can't let his work on myself go to waste. He made me a better person, so I can't just lay down on my laurels and do nothing with my life because it would be a waste of his effort. Kinda sorta thinking. Which is interesting. And also memories. All my memories would vanish from this world. And it is said that people who die only truly die when everybody forgets about them. So if you die, then all of the people you keep in your memories die a little bit more. You could say it that way. So yeah, if you have some memories, it would be a waste for you to just stop carrying them. He feared dying and leaving me alone. This is the key word here. He didn't as much fear dying itself as he feared leaving Fern alone with no assistance, with no education, with no help. So her becoming stronger, becoming self-sufficient, would alleviate Heiter's fears. It would be the best way to repay him. I don't want him to regret saving me. Yeah, I want to show that I became a fully fledged mage, that I became a good and proper person, and I can take care of myself. Yeah, learning some kind of skill to support myself is my way of repaying him. It's springtime now, and the music is amazing. The score really does so much. Now, sure, the animation and the lighting and the art goes hand in hand with it. But the music, the score, really is great, really is amazing. Incredibly cinematic. Music in Frieren would really not be out of place in a movie. You know, I would like to hear this music at a fucking IMAX. Not gonna lie. Yeah, no spells. But this was Hyper's plan all along. Hyper's, not Hyper. Hyper is something completely different. Oh shit, we are not long. We are not far into this episode. It was Hyper's plan all along. He gave Frieren the grimoire so that she can stay here to decipher it, and while she's here, might as well just teach Fern magic. And she played herself that way because she agreed to it. Indeed, Hyder is putting on a brave face, and probably he himself is more afraid of saying goodbyes than Fern is. What he said in a previous episode, that he is afraid of dying and he would like a few more years, is probably true. He didn't lie in that regard. So, yeah. In this scene, I really expected Frieren to maybe carry Hyder's body or coffin or an urn or something like that. I really expected this to be the scene of the whatchamacallit, when they bury the body in the ground. I forgot the word. But yeah, that. As, you know, they carry casket or whatever through the flower field and they bury him among the flowers or something along those lines. And yeah, he saved Fern because he wanted to be like Himmel, because Himmel was an inspiration to him, and also as a way to honor Himmel's memory. That's what Himmel would do. That's a nice, clean shot. I love the little detail of birds just flying by. It adds that little bit of movement to this scene, so that it's not just two sliding PNGs. 2 or 3? 2. 2 sliding PNGs, but there's something happening. It's the little things. Mother, Hapre, and some other indecipherable ones. And yeah, pour the last one out for the boys. 26 years after the death of Himmel, not after the death of Hyder. I was mistaken. I thought Fern would be like 30 something at this point, but no. It's essentially 2 years after Hyder's death. Kinda, sorta. Okay, so yeah, makes sense. Makes perfect sense. Using their magic to throw around some pumpkins, and in exchange they get a warm tea spell. I mean, that's useful. That's useful. You know, you're out camping in the cold. It's winter time. You need to go somewhere. You need something warm to, you know, warm yourself up. Summon some hot tea. Why don't you? Warm tea, even. You're traveling through the desert. You're dehydrated. Summon warm tea. It's an extremely useful spell. Also, what kind of a tea? Could it be herbal tea? Could it have some medicinal properties? Right? You have an upset stomach? Summon some mint tea. You have trouble going to sleep? Summon some Yeah, I don't know the translations of all of the herbs to English, so I'm not gonna continue that train of thought, but you know what I mean. Spell to remove patina from bronze statues. Spell to turn sweet grapes into sour ones. Probably useful for creating some specific wines, maybe. I really like those tiny little moments they have, those tiny little vignettes from their travels. Yeah, Himmel's statue. Himmel's statue. He was very vain, but ultimately useful. Saved the village, saved the lady. And now we need to plant flowers, but not just any flowers, Himmel's favorites from his hometown. Blue moon weed. There were plenty of flowers like that in the area, and now they all died out. It's... This little tidbit with flowers just being abundant in the area and now being nowhere to be seen, it really hits home for me. Not with flowers, but with how the world is changing, you know? I struggle with it myself. I really do. I struggle with the fact that when I was a kid, I remember there being like half a meter layer of snow in the winter, and we would build little snow castles or walls at least, or igloos, and we would throw snowballs at each other, and we would go, go down the hill on some sledding. We would go sledding. That's what I meant. Nowadays, we don't really have snow in winter. Couple of days, maybe a week in total of snow. Maybe a centimeter layer, maybe a couple of millimeters, and the next day it's all melted away. And it fucking sucks. Because I liked it when there was more snow. When I look at the night sky, I remember when I was a kid, I remember seeing all the constellations. I remember seeing planets, galaxies, even on the new moon, when there was no light pollution. Nowadays, I live in a city. I'm really happy when I see a couple of stars. It used to be that this time of the year we had some red leaves and some heavy rains, and everything was cool. Everything was fine. It was a little cold, a little humid. Nowadays we had like 30 degrees Celsius yesterday. And I feel the nostalgia after flowers that no longer grow. Like I feel the nostalgia after snow that no longer falls. Huh. Fucking climate change, I swear. But yeah, let's continue. Seed rats. I'll release them in the woods. Yeah. Let's look for the flowers. But the flowers are nowhere to be seen, but we at least get some nice vignettes from their lives that, again, humanize Frieren a lot and show their really nice and slow, first and foremost, slow daily lives. I talked about it at length in the first episode, how I would love to have a slow life like that. And yeah, of course, Fern would be concerned. They spent half a year looking for a flower. For Frieren, it doesn't matter. Half a year, what is that? It's a minute, it's 5 minutes. It takes me half a year to make myself some good elven tea. What are you talking about? But yeah, Frieren absolutely would continue searching for years and decades. She absolutely would. And there is a little bit of here in what Fern says, that Frieren will actually stay here searching for a decade. And that Fern would be stuck with her, searching for the flower for a decade. And a decade in a human life is a lot of time, isn't it? And there is a hint of resentment, because Frieren could spend her time so much better, right? A decade is nothing to Frieren, but if she spent that decade going around the country healing people, it would make so many people's lives much better. If she spent another decade going around the country fertilizing people's fields, everybody's lives would be so much better. But rather than that, Frieren is ready to spend a decade looking for a flower. Not a special flower, not a magical flower that is about to save the princess or drive off the dragon. No, a flower that her friend liked. A flower that just looks nice. She shouldn't spend her time searching for something that doesn't exist. She possesses the power to save so many people, but she just doesn't. Because human lives are just so different in scale from hers. Now, thankfully, Frieren is receptive to it. She is receptive to the criticism. This is cool. Sure. That she genuinely wants to learn about humans, about their time scale, about their lives and whatnot. And this is a good lesson. Humans are not ready to stay a decade in a single spot looking for a flower. So if you want to spend time with Fern, if you actually want to get to know her like you wanted to get to know Himmel, you need to be a little bit faster. You can't spend, again, a decade looking for a flower and laying on some grass and doing stuff like that. But I really like this moment that Fern isn't, immediately, her concerns aren't immediately alleviated. Because sure, Frieren says it's time to go, but how soon is soon? How many years is it? She knows that Frieren works on a completely different timescale, so when Frieren says soon, she doesn't mean 2 days, she doesn't mean a week, she probably means a year or 2 or 3. Thankfully not the case. A stroke of luck. Why to collect spells? It's just a hobby. Well, we have an explanation for how she got that hobby. With a whatever spell, with not a particularly useful spell, a spell that just summons flowers, she was able to bring so much happiness to her companions. And she was able to hear praise that, hey, it's a cool spell you have there. Where'd you get it? How'd you get it? So now she's looking for other spells that might also have an effect like that. Who knows? Maybe on their journeys they're gonna meet an old man who's dying of thirst, and he could really go for a cup of warm tea, right? Maybe they go to some, I don't know, village that lives off wine, and there's a shortage of sour grapes, but there's a lot of sweet grapes, and they're having trouble because of that, because sour grape wine sells for more money, so Frieren can now turn sweet grapes into sour grapes and help them like that. It's cool. I like it. She wants to have the biggest possible repertoire of spells, so that she has a spell for every for every eventuality. Whatever happens, she's probably gonna have a spell to make the situation better. It's cool. I like it. Blue petal. Seed rats are essentially squirrels. I don't know why they just weren't called squirrels. They look like squirrels. They behave like squirrels. They eat what squirrels do. They forget where the seeds are stored, just like squirrels do. Squirrels spread a lot of seeds that way. A lot of oaks, for example, are planted by squirrels. Because a squirrel will take an oak nut, or whatever it's called, put it somewhere in a hole in the ground and forget about it. And an oak tree is gonna sprout up not long after. Yeah, I believe squirrels forget like 80% of what they stored. Something thereabouts. I think there was some research actually done on the topic. They often forget where. Yeah, I also figured they'd be there, but I thought it's going to be a flower field with maybe some of those blue moon weeds here and there. I did not expect a whole area of blue moon weeds. Very convenient. Why are you passionate about it? There has to be a reason. There absolutely has to be a reason. Nothing happens without a reason. And yeah, let's hope they're not an invasive species, because the forest and the area will be fucked. Now they probably aren't. But it's really nice that they like reintroduced those flowers to the area. I always like any and all reintroduction efforts. I heard that there's plan to like revitalize North American tundras and steppes or something along those lines by reintroducing megafauna, because those lands are barren because mammoths are no longer around. If we bring mammoths back and we release them up north, then that land will suddenly, well, not suddenly, it's gonna take years and years and years, but it will eventually turn a little bit more fertile and a little bit more livable, and it's gonna be cool. I haven't looked up anything about it recently. I wonder how it's going. I really wonder how it's going. But yeah, I really appreciate things like that. I have a little plot of land in the city. It's really not that big, but it's enough to plant some trees and fruit bushes and whatnot. And I ordered a couple of trees that are like, old, original European Polish species of an old original Polish fruit that fell out of favor, and so it's nowhere to be seen really, but it used to be what our forefathers ate, and I just planted it there because it's cool to have a piece of history, It's cool to be able to get that berry or that fruit or whatever and think that, hey, nobody eats it now, but it was a delicacy 300 years ago. There's something cool to that, I would love to have some, extinct or formerly extinct plants around. And the fruit I'm thinking about is shadbush. Yeah, shadbush. Now, granted, it's not a particularly tasty fruit, but it's nice to be able to eat a piece of history, But yeah, let's continue. Yeah, nice flower crown. Again, he was the only one who didn't have that crown. Now he can join everybody else. There we go. That's the episode. Mm-hmm. Again, I went on for over an hour, and I promised myself to make the episodes a little shorter, and I thought I'm not gonna have anything to talk about, but here I am talking for over an hour in total. I see where this series is going, I think. We're gonna be traveling the world, doing all the jobs here and there, collecting spells. That's gonna be the main drive, collecting spells. And every now and then, something's gonna remind Frieren about the good old days. Be it a statue of one of the heroes, be it maybe a place where Hyder's favorite wine was made, or maybe the hometown of Eisen that they visit, or something like that. They're gonna meet it on their way, not necessarily going for it. It's not a journey of reminiscence. It's not Frieren traveling the world to, recall her travels and go through it step by step and remember the good times they had, but rather it's going to happen accidentally. Right? One day, Frieren is going to get a bottle of wine as payment for helping some villager move some crates around. She's gonna pick it up, turn it around, and she's gonna notice that the label is the same wine that Hyder really liked, and we're gonna get a little bit of a flashback of Frieren drinking with Hyder, maybe, or Hyder trying to invite her for a drink. Right? It's going to be something like that. It's going to be very very real in a way, because you and I, we rarely go for reminiscing journeys like that, right? We don't really retrace our steps just to remember the past. But there are moments in our current journeys that remind us of our pasts and that make us reminisce. Whenever not whenever, I was at the central train station in my city not long ago. I even posted some pictures to my Reddit. No, the fuck, I don't have a Reddit. To my Discord. I went there because I was in the area, and I wanted to just go through there because why not? And it wasn't a journey of reminiscence, but it instantly reminded me of the days when I lived outside of my current big city, that where the only connection to the big city was by train, and the amount of times I would disembark at the central station whenever we would go to visit some museum, or whenever we would go to a cinema or to theater with the school, or even with my friends. We would disembark there and we would eat at the KFC or the McDonald's place there, and they are still there. And I was immediately overcame by a rush of nostalgia because of that place, but I didn't set my steps in that direction to reminisce. And that's how it works, doesn't it? It really makes this show so real and so close to, I think, everybody's hearts. I think everybody can see a little bit of themselves in Frieren. Everybody can empathize with what she's going through. Everybody can think of a situation where they themselves went somewhere, ate something, smelled something. A sense of smell is really a huge trigger for human memory. And it suddenly reminded them of something, brought some memory back, brought a flashback to your head. That's what Frieren is going to be about. It's not going to be a journey to the past. No, Frieren is not going back. She's continuing onwards with her new teammates, with her new goals, finding new spells. But because her travels were so vast, and because her journey with her friends was so important and probably spanning the majority of the continent, she's bound to meet people and see places and experience moments that bring the memories back. Yeah, I think I get it. I think I get the point of this show. I think I get the point of this story. Going forwards, but still not forgetting the past. I guess that's how you can sum it up. It's cool. I like it. I liked it. But yeah, I think that's gonna be it, because otherwise I'm just gonna be spinning in circles and we wouldn't want that. So how about you guys? Now tell me, what did you think of this episode, of my reaction, my theories, stuff like that. No spoilers. Spoilers go to my Discord if anywhere, but otherwise comments go down there. You know where comments are on YouTube, come on. Like this video if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't, but tell me why so I can improve. Subscribe to the channel to be notified of future releases of not only Frieren, but also, what else is there? Some 100 Magia Record, Ancient Magus Bride, Undead Girl Murder Farce, Nanatsu no Makengashi Haisuru, and I also started watching Shangri-La Frontier. If you're interested in those, I'm gonna be recording them. I also stream sometimes, so you might want to click the bell icon to be notified of when I go live. Support the channel if you want monetarily on Patreon, linked down below, where for $10 a month you get early access to non-seasonal shows like Magia Record, and for just $1 you get a role on the Discord and a place in the credits. You also can support me monetarily on YouTube itself via memberships, super thanks, stuff like that, also down below. And if you don't want to spend any money whatsoever, you don't have to. Share my content, spread the word. It costs you absolutely nothing and helps the channel a lot. And now, with all of that out of the way, that's gonna be it from me for today. So as always, you guys do all the good stuff, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Cheers! And here's the list of my wonderful patrons: QB Without a Net, The Corporal Survivor, Zetran, Zayrainer, Aquamancer, Marsh, Fassel, David, Dr. Wojtek, and Hans Peter. And you can join them, and you don't have to find any flowers to do that.